Welcome everyone to this explainer. If you're a focused learner on a mission to really master the flute, well, you're in exactly the right place. You know, the flute can seem incredibly mysterious at first glance, mostly because it's one of the very few wind instruments where we don't actually blow air directly into it. So today we're going to completely demystify this beautiful instrument. We'll be taking you step by step from snapping open that case for the very first time, all the way to playing your first notes with total confidence.
But right before we get going, I want you to consider this. An expert flute instructor once admitted, "It took me 2 weeks to get a sound out of it." 2 weeks. I'm sharing this to reassure you right out of the gate. If you're sitting there feeling a bit frustrated because you can't make a peep, it is completely normal. Unlike just striking a key on a piano or plucking a violin string, finding the exact right angle for your embouchure, your lip shape, takes patience. So validate that frustration, give yourself some grace, and know for sure that you're going to get there.
Okay, so here's our foolproof game plan for today. We're going to tackle assembling your flute, making that elusive first sound, dialing in your posture and hand positioning, and finally, we'll troubleshoot and fix those really common beginner mistakes that might be holding you back. All right, let's jump straight into building your foundation, the actual assembly of the flute. Getting the mechanics right when putting the head joint, body, and foot joint together is absolutely crucial because a solid foundation ensures your instrument is properly balanced in your hands from the get-go. Now, the physical assembly is actually pretty straightforward, but it does require a gentle touch. You'll want to take the body joint. Look for the end that has 2 rings on it. That's exactly where you gently slide the head joint in. The trick here is to make sure the tone hole on the head joint aligns straight down the line of the keys on the body. Next up, grab the foot joint. You'll notice it has a larger and a smaller opening. Slide that larger opening onto the bottom of the body with a very gentle twist. And just align the long rod on the foot joint so it points right down the middle of the body's keys. Here is a major trap beginners fall into during assembly, trying to align their lips by rolling the entire flute inward. Please don't do this. It literally forces your right hand into a highly unnatural tense angle just to reach the keys. Instead, you always want to hold your flute so the keys are completely parallel to the ground. Then, just roll the head joint slightly inward or outward to find that sweet spot for your teeth and lips. It's a tiny adjustment, but it completely protects your hands from terrible posture. Okay, so we've got it put together, but to see how this builds into making an actual sound, we're going to keep things incredibly simple and take the flute apart again. Let's practice using just the head joint for a minute to remove the distraction of holding up that heavy body. Think about the sound you'd make if you blew across the top of a glass bottle. That is a vivid, perfect analogy for how the flute works. You are not blowing your air directly into the hole. Instead, you blow gently across the curve of the lip plate. Imagine you're blowing out a candle with a very gentle, hyper-focused, light stream of air. To actually execute this, we use what's called the pout and poo method. I know, it sounds a bit silly, but it works. Feel for the curve of the tone hole with the middle of your bottom lip. Relax your lips into a gentle pout, take a deep belly breath, and blow a steady stream of air while literally saying the syllable poo. The ultimate test here is to check the head joint afterward. If you see a little condensation right on the far edge of the hole, jackpot. That means your air is hitting the exact right spot. Now, what if you're trying that method, but your sound is super airy, inconsistent, or just not happening? Well, your air is probably scattering everywhere. Try this. Slightly adjust your air direction so you're aiming down toward your right elbow. This tiny directional shift totally focuses the airstream and can instantly fix a fuzzy tone. Once you've got that dialed in, you can graduate from saying poo to adding your tongue inside your mouth using the syllable to for crisp, clean articulation.
All right, we've got our sound. Let's put the whole flute back together now and talk about how to structure your body and hands to really support this amazing instrument.
I know the flute has a ton of keys, and figuring out where your fingers go can look like a crazy puzzle at first. So let's break down the left hand. Your thumb rests on the long key on the back. For the front, you just need to remember this specific pattern. Skip the first key, press your pointer on the second, skip the third key, press your middle finger on the fourth, and your ring finger on the fifth. An easy way to memorize this tricky fingering is the phrase skip, press, press. Or think of it as no, yes, yes, which conveniently has the exact same rhythm as saying New York Yankees. Moving on to the right hand. Place your thumb underneath the flute to support it, right about between the two upper keys. Then, pop your pinky on the foot joint key and just let your pointer, middle, and ring fingers rest naturally on the three lowest keys of the body. I totally get that this is a lot of muscle memory to build all at once. A massive help here is to actually place tiny stickers or little dots of nail polish directly on the correct keys while you're learning. Okay, now we enter the troubleshooting phase. This is where we reverse engineer and fix those pesky common bad habits that hold so many beginners back from sounding like absolute pros. First up, let's talk about your general body posture. It's incredibly tempting to just sit down while you practice, but sitting severely restricts your diaphragm and your abdominal muscles. You really want to make a habit of practicing standing up. Plant your feet firmly, almost like you're getting ready to do a light squat, and balance your weight evenly on both legs. This strong foundation ensures your airflow and tone are powerfully supported by your core. The next big mistake is contorting your body to reach the instrument. The golden rule here is never bring your body down to the flute. Always bring the flute up to your body. An amazing trick for this is to practice standing perfectly straight against a wall. It naturally trains you to hold the flute at an ideal 90-degree angle. This keeps your elbows from flying too high, which causes awful shoulder tension, or sagging too low, which actually pinches your lungs and cuts off your airflow. Let's look at your hands again. A super common thing beginners do is lift their fingers high up into the air every time they change a note. While it might look very dramatic and expressive, all that extra distance is just wasted movement. By consciously keeping your fingers relaxed and hovering just a millimeter or two above the keys, you'll vastly improve your playing speed and technical agility as you advance. And while we're on the subject of fingers, we definitely got to talk about the left pinky. Because it doesn't press a key very often, beginners have this habit of letting it fly high up in the air, all stiff and tense, or they'll try to dig it under the flute. A flying pinky takes way too long to travel back down to its key, slowing you down. But even worse, our bodies are deeply connected. That tension in your tiny pinky muscle will literally travel all the way up your arm, right into your neck, and ruin your sound. Keep it relaxed, just hovering there. Next, let's tackle breathing. Do you ever feel dizzy while playing? Or maybe it sounds like you're having a mini asthma attack, gasping for air after every single note. That's going to completely chop up your musical phrases. If you're struggling here, you need to deliberately train your lung capacity. Try this daily exercise. Set a metronome to 60 beats per minute. Play a scale starting from middle B and hold a single sustained note for 4 full beats before taking a breath. Master 4, then push yourself to 5, then 6. You'll see a huge difference. Lastly, we have to talk maintenance, because your mastery absolutely relies on the mechanical health of your flute, specifically the delicate seal of the keypads. If they don't seal perfectly, your sound suffers, period. Always brush your teeth or use mouthwash, and skip the sugary sodas right before playing, or those pads will get sticky and make a popping noise. If they do get sticky, never use powdered paper to fix it. That damages the pads over time. And a quick pro tip. Steer clear of velvet-lined cases. They're notorious for attracting dust that gets trapped right inside your flute's mechanism. Wow, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground in this explainer today. Now, I want you to reflect honestly on your own practice sessions. What is your biggest struggle right now? Is it posture? Breath control? Making that clear sound? Identify it and apply the targeted fix we discussed. Mastering the flute is really just a journey of 1,000 tiny adjustments. So, as you pack away your instrument today, ask yourself, what is the one tiny adjustment you'll make tomorrow that will completely transform your sound? Keep at it, have fun practicing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.